ArcInfo, formerly ArcInfo, is a full-featured geographic information system produced by Esri, and is the highest level of licensing, and therefore functionality, in the ArcGIS Desktop products line. It was originally a command line-based system. The command line processing abilities are now available through the GUI of the ArcGIS Desktop product. History. ArcInfo. Esri launched the first version of ArcInfo, which it claims as the very first modern GIS, in 1982 on mini-computers. The name refers to its architecture as a geographic information system composed of geographic input, processing, and output tools. Arc, with a complementary but separate database. Info. The early releases of ArcInfo comprised a set of Fortran programs linked together and accessed through a command line interface built with the scripting language of the mini-computer. Corporal on Primos, DCL on VMS, etc. The software was built under a paradigm of tools that could be used together within a command line interface to perform GIS database development, geoprocessing, and output functions. Esri added subsystems for surface processing, TIN, network analysis, network, and survey data processing, COGO. The release of ArcInfo 4.0 included the advent of an Arc executive, which processed commands with a new command interpreter developed in Fortran and compiled for each platform. For performance and stability, the Arc executive allowed the support of a command language specific to ArcInfo, the Arc macro language, AML. This allows users automate input to the command line, and supports simple graphical user interfaces, menus and forms, for application-specific tools and applications. AML was largely based on Corporal, the system scripting language of the original ArcInfo development platform. Primos. AML applications could be written to execute unmodified on all platforms supported by ArcInfo. As computing shifted towards Unix and Windows, Esri followed by launching ArcInfo on both platforms. The development platform for ArcInfo moved to Sun Solaris at version 5.0, and to Windows at version 7.1. Esri released a subset of ArcInfo functionality as PC ArcInfo for MS-DOS in 1987 and later a version for Windows using a D-based tables instead of info for tabular data and a simple macro language. SML equals grid equals. ArcInfo 6.0 added a major subsystem, grid, for raster processing, the underlying raster processing software framework, and Esri Grid raster data format. Later provided the code base for ArcView 3, Spatial Analyst and ArcGIS Spatial Analyst. ArcInfo. Esri underwent a major change in its GIS product family when it released ArcGIS 8.0 late in 1999. With this release, ArcInfo was discontinued and its code base largely frozen. ArcGIS was a multi-scale architecture, with the desktop product released at 3 licensing levels: ArcView, ArchEditor, and ArcInfo. The ArcInfo license is billed by Esri as Professional GIS, allowing users the most flexibility in controlling all aspects of data building, modeling, analysis, and map to display. ArcInfo Desktop continued to be shipped with the older command line software, now named ArcInfo Workstation, with access to coverage processing tools provided through the ArcGIS Coverage Toolbox. Most ArcInfo Workstation functionality missing from ArcInfo Desktop at the 8.0 release was gradually implemented within the ArcGIS geoprocessing framework, and was finally completed with the release of ArcGIS 10.0 in 2011. Final release and deprecation. Esri released ArcInfo Workstation 10.0, along with ArcGIS 10.0, in late 2010. This final release supported Windows XP, Vista, Win7, Server 2003 and 2008, and Solaris 10. Spark. In 2012, Esri deprecated the use of the term ArcInfo as a licensing option for ArcGIS. The most advanced license for ArcGIS Desktop is now known as ArcGIS Advanced. ArcGIS for Desktop. Esri website. ArcInfo. Wiki. GIS.com